Hello.
Hi.
This is Jessica.
And this is Jamie.
And this is Hot for Justin.
I know, the regular edition.
Yeah, so
your Monday special.
we're gonna just get into it because that's what we do. We're gonna
jump
get into
this
it.
Bitch. Yeah.
Well, Jamie's gonna jump into it.
I am. And this case came courtesy of my mother.
Ooh, yes,
I know.
Queen.
I know.
Okay,
Jenny sent me a link, and I was like,
Jen
okay, let's fucking do it. Well, yeah, like this case is.
I love that bitch.
Me too. This case is solved, which is like not normally something I would, cover because normally we like a unsolved case up in this bitch.
Yeah, we can mix it up. It's our podcast.
But there's a couple of reasons I chose it. One, It has a twisty twist tie-in to a case that we've previously covered.
Ooh, okay, let's hear it.
And also, it's very close to home for me.
Okay.
So, Michaela Garecht, I think the last name is
okay. I've heard it's Garecht. I've heard of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she was 9 years old when she was kidnapped in the middle of the day on November 9th, 1988 in Hayward, California. So Hayward's like 20 minutes away from me. So that's why I say it's Moss close to home.
Close to home, yeah.
Yeah. So around 10 a.m. that morning, Michaela and a friend, Katrina Rodriguez, hopped on their scooters and headed to the local Rainbow Market to grab a snack and a soda. God, what a time to be alive.
I know, right?
That you could just scoot on down to the fucking corner store and get yourself a soda and call it a day.
Miss those days.
I know. But now there's weirdos outside. Not to say that there wasn't weirdos outside at this time, because that's what we're
obviously there were. We're just more aware of them now.
Right. So the girls park their scooters outside, go in, get their goods, and then start to walk home. It's on their way home that they remember that they scootered over, which I don't even know if scootered is a word, but I didn't get a little squiggly line under it. So like,
yeah, it's a word.
Sure.
It's a word.
So they turn around to go collect their scooters. When they get there, though, one of them isn't where they left them. But then Michaela spots it across the parking lot and goes off to get it. A few seconds later, Katrina hears her friend scream and sees her get scooped up by a man in a car. She books it back inside of the store to notify a clerk, who then calls 911. This is where the first hiccup happens. The clerk misidentifies who Katrina said drove off with Michaela and therefore unwittingly gives a bad description to the dispatcher.
No.
Yeah, so this bad description is of a man in his 30s who had a hippie-like appearance, a mustache, and drove a burgundy car. This description is shared for 2 days before the error is realized. Katrina, who's the only actual witness, and again, is a small child, describes the man as being in his 20s, having shoulder-length hair, blue eyes, and most notably, severe acne or pockmarks in his face. Okay. She also describes the vehicle that he was in to be a light-colored sedan, possibly off-white, tan, or gold. Search efforts began immediately in southern Alameda County with emphasis on wooded and unpopulated areas. The FBI was also involved in the searches, and plane and helicopter searches were conducted as well as ground searches. Over 5,000 tips were received by investigators within the first year of the disappearance, and with over 4,000 of them coming in before the end of December, so within like 2 months of the disappearance. On November 30th, 21 days after the kidnapping, Joe Montana of San Francisco 49ers fame made a public statement calling for the culprits to return her home safely. There were over 42,000 missing child posters distributed. Her face was on milk cartons, and there was even a $70,000 reward in place for information that would result in finding the little girl. And that's $70,000 in 80s money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Probably, if I had to guess, because I'm not going to Google it right now because lazy, probably like 115,000 if I had to.
You say 1998 and $70,000?
88.
That's what I meant to say.
Oh, yes.
That's what I was thinking in my brain. 70,000.
There was just a slight disconnect between your brain and your mouth.
Yes. Well, that happens a lot.
I mean, same.
Oh my God.
What?
$807,800.
From 70,000? Jesus.
In today's money. Dollars.
Wow.
Right? That's inflation.
Way off.
Yeah. That's almost $1 million.
Fuck. Wish we found her.
God dang.
So
I'm
there's
poor.
bitch. Who you telling?
And Bob the supervisor doesn't understand why millennials complain all the time. Anyways.
So there's been a few very famous suspects in this case, a couple of them having been infamous for other California kidnappings. The first of which is Tim Bidninder. Whatever.
He doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Anemone.
No. She matters, he doesn't matter. Hit it.
Facts. Who kidnapped Amber Schwartz in Pinole just a few months before Michaela's abduction. The other was Philip Garrido, who had kidnapped and held J.C. Dugard for captive in Jesus Christ, Jamie.
Terrible.
For 18 years in Antioch. The kidnapping also happened in broad daylight, and the proximity to Hayward made it feasible. However, no evidence was ever found. So.
Pause.
Yeah.
That was in Antioch?
Yeah, that's literally 15 minutes from my house.
I always thought that was in the Midwest for some reason.
Bitch, no! That was literally like a stone's throw, basically, from like where I used to live.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that fucking bonkers?
The more you know.
So,
anyways,
do you remember when you covered the Speed Freak killers way back when?
Yes. Oh, I do. Because they're from my hometown.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well,
my home county.
Well, yeah. Well, one of them was also suspect in this disappearance.
That's fair.
You remember that boy named Lauren?
Yes, that boy. A boy named Lauren. That was the episode title if you guys want to listen to it.
I know. I was really proud of myself for that joke that I wrote into this.
I like that.
Like, write jokes into my things, but
yeah,
you know, I had to.
I liked it. Good job.
Thank you. I'll pat myself on the back. Oh, I'm recording this, so I can actually. You can see.
You can because we're on YouTube's now.
Oh, wow. So Mr. Loren Herzog was implicated by his accomplice when he said that Herzog resembled the suspect of, quote, that guy that kidnapped that Hayward girl.
Listen, it's
not impossible.
Who really knows? Yeah.
The witness, Kayla Rodriguez, commented, I thought then, and I think now that he could be the kidnapper. I think that there are features that look very much like the man. It does seem like a strong lead. However, DNA evidence that was taken of Herzog and his accomplice as victims didn't come into a match of Michaela's because if you do remember, where they were staying was ransacked, and they did find remains of a lot of young girls, but and belongings of young girls, none of which matched Michaela. But Michaela, when she disappeared, she was last seen wearing a pair of Mary Jane's shoes, and there was a pair of Mary Jane's in evidence that was collected from the place that they had been staying, but San Joaquin County sheriffs have actually never cooperated with the Hayward police in getting DNA evidence of those shoes or additional information about the shoes in general. I
just don't get, like, what harm does that do?
Literally none. It's fucking
I mean, like,
horseshit.
maybe it takes a little time, but, like, Jesus. Anyways.
Yeah. But just a couple of months ago here, at the end of 2020, and probably one of the very few good things to come out of 2020, there's a suspect in custody.
Oh.
David Mish, who is already in prison on an unrelated murder conviction, was charged in relation to Michaela's kidnapping and possible murder on December 21st of last year. The investigation is still ongoing, however, but it looks like her family may be able to get justice soon. So, if anyone
they found her remains. Did they find her remains?
Nope.
So they have no idea what happened to her.
Yeah, she's never turned up. Nobody knows what happened to her. So, if anyone has information that can either corroborate that David Mish is responsible or where her remains are, or if someone has a better suspect, Hayward police are looking.
Her poor friend.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like,
can you imagine the trauma that would stem from that, knowing that like easily just could have been you if your scooter had been the one grabbed and like taken across the parking lot? Because obviously they did that on purpose.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, I remember, growing up in the 90s, even like not even that long after this happened, like our parents would be like, oh, like if your shit's over there, like don't go over, wander by yourself to go get it, type of thing, like whatever, like, because stuff like this was prevalent at the time.
It was different for us growing up because we grew up in such a small place.
True.
But, I mean, I guess I think about it, like a really, really small town, there wasn't really any convenience stores close by. So I wasn't, until I was much older, I was allowed to go by myself. But we were allowed to, like, go ride our bikes around the neighborhood or whatever, but always with another friend.
Yeah, like, when I was growing up, I mean, like, I grew up in, you know, more of, like, a suburb city situation. Not in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, no shade.
No shade, it's true. Literally, when we grew up, there was one stoplight in our town. There's two now. There's one growing up. One stoplight.
I'm really glad that people can see my facial expressions now.
Actually, there's maybe two, but one's like a crosswalk stoplight, so that doesn't count. But it's amazing. A tiny town.
Like, I just remember, like, being, you know, 9, 10, 11 years old, and me and my friends were able to, like, go walk places, or, like, usually if I was staying at a friend's house, because my parents were a little bit more, like, overprotective about stuff, and, like, usually my mom was always home, because until I was in high school, she didn't have a job. Like, she was a stay-at-home mom. That was her job. I shouldn't say she didn't have a job, because
that is a job.
Yeah. Let me make that very fucking clear. I'm not shitting on anyone that's a stay-at-home mom.
No. Yeah. We get.
I'm also not shitting on a trophy wife. If that's your thing, go for it.
Dude, sweetie.
I'm jealous.
Send me your secrets.
Right. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. But I remember being, like, in middle school, and one of my friends who, like, her parents were divorced, and her mom worked a lot. Like, I would go to her house and hang out, and they lived in Martinez, and we would walk from her house to, like, Rite Aid to go get ice cream or whatever. TB fucking T. Do you remember when Rite Aid's had ice cream? Or did you guys even have that where you grew up?
They still do. Our Rite Aid's
I thought Rite Aid's died.
No, they have ice cream. We have one here where I live now, and they also still have the one that in where I grew up. They have it. They have ice cream. I mean, because of COVID, they don't do ice cream right now. They have, like, their own brand, and it's so superior to any other ice cream.
Oh, it's fucking bomb. Because there's one Rite Aid near me, and it's literally just, like, a pharmacy and drugstore. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have an ice cream anymore.
Sorry, I hired you guys. Anyways.
That's okay. But anyways, TBT to getting Rite Aid ice cream, because that shit's the tits.
It is still.
Well, next time it's, like, open near you, we'll have to get a scoop or two, because it's not open near me. Oh, I mean, like, they don't even have it as an option.
Yeah. Once COVID's over, we'll go.
The only reason I even went to the Rite Aid is because I got my first dose of the vaccine, bitch.
Yay!
If you have the opportunity to get your COVID vaccination, fucking do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and you can, because there are, you know, for people with severe allergic reactions to things, you might want to talk to your doctor first.
Right. And I will say, personally, my only adverse reaction was, it just felt like someone hit me very fucking hard in the arm. But
that's how the HPV shot feels.
See, I didn't have that much of an issue with it.
The third in the series.
Mm-hmm. But also, I literally did it when I was, like, 12, so.
Yeah. I was a little older. I think I was 17.
I don't remember.
Anyways, I digress.
I don't quite remember. I did it when it first came out, and I remember, like, because I was going to private school at the time, it was, like, a big deal, and like all of the kids, like, judged me because they were like, you're only supposed to get that if you're sexually active, and I was like, 12.
You're really not. You're supposed to get it anyway.
That's what I said.
Because even if you can, it can anyways, whatever, we're getting off topic.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we can sufficiently dick off now. Oh wait, no, we can't.
I have to go still. Okay, we're gonna pause our dicking off. We'll resume at the end.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that we were continuing to do that.
Okay.
I thought this was the last episode, and that I was done. I was like the second half.
Yeah, you were the finishing act.
Yeah, so I was still here gonna keep talking for a week about nothing.
Okay, well, now I'm going to talk about something. The murder of Barbara Beach Hamburg, which is from the
totally almost called her Hamburger.
No, I was going to go into say murder, so it almost came out like hamburger murder, and it was by accident. Barbara Beach Hamburg, which is on the Murder on Middle Beach HBO documentary, her son made. He made it. They got picked up by HBO.
That's fucking bonkers.
So there's a lot of stuff on this case. It's not a traditional case I would do. That's gotten a lot of press, but I'm gonna cover it anyway.
Do it.
So on March 3rd, 2010, single mom. So, okay, also pause. I'm the same age as her son. I'm like a little bit older. He was 17. I was 18 by this time, but we're about the same age.
Crazy.
Single mother Barbara Hamburg was found murdered outside of her home in upper middle class Madison, Connecticut. The scene was really brutal. In the documentary Murder on Middle Beach, her son Madison recaps his mother's day. She was found in her pajamas. She had gone to go get coffee, and the coffee was strewn across the front lawn, and her purse was as well. She had just returned from dropping off her daughter at school. They were a little late. They were already running late, and so they went and got coffee on the way, and then she was dropped off at school. The mom came home. Later in the day, her daughter Allie had been calling and texting her mom saying she wanted to be picked up and to come home from school, but her mom never responded, so she texted her Aunt Conway to come get her. So her Aunt Conway comes, picks her up. The two arrive at Barbara's home to immediately notice something was wrong. Barbara's purse was on the front lawn. Their dog statue was knocked over, and Allie was like, it was always right here, always like this, and it was knocked over. So she knew something was wrong. They go through the entire house. Barbara wasn't inside. There wasn't really like any mess inside. And then they walk around the outside. They see a pallet leaned up against the side of the house, and then a bunch of like outside chair cushions were stacked up alongside the house. Barbara's sister Conway started to lift up the pillows, and she said, well, I just saw fur and blood, and so she thought it was an animal that was dead. She remembers like feeling like, thank God it's just an animal, but it wasn't. It was actually Barbara.
Fuck.
She was brutally beaten. The autopsy revealed her cause of death was blunt force trauma and sharp force injury, and they believe that the weapon used was a hammer. So Madison goes through all of this. He talks to all of his family members and like even his sister. It's really caused like a huge rift within their family because his Aunt Conway for a really long time thought that the sister did it, that Allie did it, because Allie was having issues and she was kind of back and forth between her parents. They were divorced, and then there's a couple other like really it's viable motives, and Madison goes all through it. So it's a really great documentary if you're interested in learning more. And it's different. He just does it differently because he's interviewing his family members and his dad, and his dad is not cooperative, and his dad even asks like, are you recording this? Because he won't talk if he's being recorded. His dad's sus. So
what a dick nose.
Yeah, it's just really crazy, and I give Madison like huge props. He did a really great job. I can't even imagine like doing something like that if that were my mom. So the day of her death, she was actually scheduled to be in court at 9:30. However, she had talked to a few people the day before saying that she had court at 2. So this was weird. Okay, the court case was a big thing. It was against her ex-husband Jeffrey Hamburg, who owed her hundreds of thousands of dollars in alimony and back child support.
So you think she would know when she's supposed to fucking be there?
Right. So that's why at the end, Madison's like, well, I'm kind of thinking maybe somebody had called her pretending to be a court clerk and saying, hey, your court date was moved to later on. And that's why she thought it was at 2 instead of 9:30. And so that way somebody would have known where she was going to be.
Are you telling me this was a setup?
I think so. But I don't know. So there's no hard evidence, but that's weird. And
I don't like
people
it.
remember that. 2 people remember her saying that. Not just one person. 2 people said no. She said she had court at 2, which is why she was still in her pajamas. Okay.
That really rubs me the wrong fucking way.
Yeah. So Jeffrey, and Madison realizes this as they're recording. There's no way to make him look good in this documentary. No. He's her ex-husband. He owed her money. He's sus, but like his lack of cooperation and just like his he has nothing to say that's nice about Barbara. And you would think that like if your child's other parent was murdered, even if you didn't like them, you weren't in love with them anymore, you just didn't care, you would care about your child.
Right. Like,
he does not. He's weird. So, he's obviously a person of interest. They had a very contentious divorce. The couple were super wealthy. Jeffrey had been a CEO of an electric company, so they grew up super wealthy, but he was fired for some shady dealings. And then there was a court case after that. He sued them for like slander and won. I'm not really sure exactly like what parts were not true, but Barbara had previously told the police that she had evidence Jeffrey was involved in an international money laundering scheme and had acquired at least $100 million from it. And there's like paperwork that Madison finds it's really sus, and he's like trying to ask his dad, and his dad's like, well, I don't know anything about that. And Madison's like, well, your signature's on it, your name's all over these. And he's like, well, I don't know. And it's not even like, well, I would like to look at it. It's like, I don't know anything about that. So it's weird.
You know, this reminds me, not to like completely jump off topic, but this high-key reminds me, what a boofy boy.
I know, he's boofing.
Reminds me of our boy, Mr. Durst.
Yes. It's
our
weird.
Boy, who is sus as fuck.
They have no chill. So
not even a little bit of chill.
Jackson, we're not gonna bark right now. Mommy's recording her podcast. Oh, my neighbor has a dog, and come here, buddy. Come here.
Aww.
Come here. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
We're not gonna bark at the puppy. No, shush.
Guest star. As you were.
Okay, so he took
Get that little face in the camera. I want to see his face.
I don't want him to boof. He's boofing.
But the people want to see him, I'm sure.
I know. This is Jax. He just had his 7th birthday last week. Don't worry. He's very cute. He's adopted from Spain.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You found him in a dumpster, no?
The rescue organization, yes, found him in a dumpster. And then he lived with a foster family, and then we adopted him. And they drove him from Spain to Germany so we could pick him up.
Goodness.
Okay, so he took almost $100,000 from his children's trust fund accounts from 2008 to 2010. Didn't repay it.
What a piece of shit.
Yep. So, okay, so
like, hold on. T for timeout. I know I digressed you already.
Listen,
but like, who takes money from their kid?
He just doesn't give two shits, man. You just have to watch it.
I will. I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it today.
He's sniffing the microphone.
He's like,
okay,
what does?
It's good. Watch it. I watched it in like 2 days. Okay. However, Barbara was also involved in a Ponzi scheme, which is also known as a pyramid scheme. And this was so interesting because you normally hear these like relating to like MLMs. A lot of times people use these interchangeably, but they're not. So a Ponzi scheme, and actually, you know what? You probably saw an example of this on Instagram a couple months ago because people were like, remember that diagram was like circles, and like at the end of the circle you get $40,000, but you had to like, you know, whatever. Okay, well, a bunch of people were sharing that on my thing, and I was like, okay. Anyway,
tell me more.
Example of a Ponzi scheme. So these Ponzi schemes were called gifting tables. Members would join the gifting table with a $5,000 gift, $5,000, and they move up in ranks when they recruit more women. So you buy in, you recruit 2 women, you move up to a different table.
And then you've just gained $10,000.
And so the highest level is called the dessert table. And when you're at the dessert table, you get $40,000. And then you start over. So Barbara was a huge recruiter for her area. She was one of the tops. And actually Madison's like great aunt or aunt, it's like by marriage, and like his other aunt, there were people who did time for this. They were prosecuted. Actually, part of it because of Barbara's murder, they seized her computer and they found evidence of internal evidence.
Wild.
So, Barbara was recruiting women from her AA group, which was terrible.
Yeah, that's predatory and shitty.
It is. And so people are like, well, maybe that's why she was murdered, because, you know, maybe she had a large amount of cash and somebody knew that, or maybe they wouldn't let somebody in and they knew that, because the whole point of the table is to make sure you get people in who can pay.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe she did someone dirty.
It's possible.
Whether wittingly or not.
Right. And so that's kind of weird. So the police do say they have DNA. All of it's accounted for. But then the detective, so Madison goes and talks to the police. He records the whole thing in his pants. He's like, so sneaky. So the cop is quoted saying that the DNA kits were crap. They were all expired. Yeah. And so he also says that one of their suspects, like, it seems like they really have a very narrow pool, but the case is sitting. It's been sitting for 10 years.
But nothing's happened.
Right. One of their suspects turned their phone off for an entire 24 hours the day of the murder.
Not weird at all.
No.
And what year did this take place again?
2010. So this is not like, I mean, this is like the beginning of iPhones and whatever, but
like
still
at that point, so 2010, you know, you and I are in high school at this point.
Yeah.
You know, most adults at that point would have probably had some sort of like BlackBerry or smartphone.
Yeah.
That's just how things were at the time.
A smartphone-ish. But I think they can still track you, because even without a smartphone, they can ping your cell phone, and it's getting better. The technology is better by 2010.
Right. But like in 2010, if they can figure out that someone turned off their goddamn phone for a whole ass day, like,
that's weird. That's us.
Yeah.
So they, at the end of the day, they know that Allie, the daughter, her phone was not off because she was sending text messages. It really ruled her out. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's really an interesting documentary. He does so good. At the end of the show, he actually petitions for like a Freedom of Information Request Act for all of the case files, because the police are like shutting him out. He's like calling in, you know, whatever. They're like refusing to cooperate, but they want all of the information he has. He's gleaned all of the interviews from his, you know, like from this documentary.
Really quickly, I'm going to address that. What just happened? My phone just went off. I apologize. I had to start setting alarms to remind myself to eat throughout the day.
Smart.
Well, because I don't.
I know.
Especially at work. Like, I'll just get in a fucking zone, like, doing shit, and then, you know, 4 hours have gone by and I haven't eaten a fucking calorie.
I'm the same way.
So
actually, after this episode, we're gonna take a snack break, but and I'm almost done. Madison they have to like do a hearing about all of the stuff. The police don't want to release any of the documents, but at the end of the documentary, he actually finds out he wins the Freedom of Information request, and they have to send over everything they have on his mom's murder, thousands of documents. So he's like, we're going to go through this, we're going to cooperate with the police, like with what information we have. And so hopefully there will be an update. It kind of made it seem like there would be, but yeah, it's just, I actually cried at the end. Like he has home videos of his mom interacting with him and his sister, and you can just see how much she loves them. And it hit me really hard. So that's the murder of Barbara Beach Hamburg, an open case. If you have information about it, of course, contact the local authorities, please. Or if you don't want to contact them, contact her son Madison, because he's following up on things.
And he's better than any cop in that entire ass town.
Yeah, well, you know, he has a personal connection and a motivation to see it done correctly and not just done.
Right.
So, now we've reached our dicking off section, which I have to say, I'm gonna be starting Bridgerton after I finish Trial 4, and then I'm gonna watch the what's the new one they have out? The Ripper?
No, the Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker. Thank you.
Yeah. Nightcrawler, I think, actually.
Whatever his name is.
It doesn't matter. Either way, it's about Richard Ramirez. Apparently, it's fucking wild.
I've heard that, and so that's next on my
to watch list.
Yes.
Yeah, Zach and I are going to start it because he's actually really excited about it too. And it smells like a recap. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's me for dicking off.
So my dicking off. I have a couple of things that I watched in my like last little bit of fun employed life. I watched A Flight Attendant on Hulu or HBO.
Oh, it's so
HBO.
good.
With Kaylee Cuoco?
Yes. Okay. I forgot about that. I told you to watch it. It was so good. At the end, I was like, oh my God.
I think it did get green lighted for a second season. I think.
Oh, good.
I think. I'm gonna Google that real quick so that I don't talk out my asshole.
Green lit, sweetie. Not green lighted. Listen, if you haven't watched it, watch it. So it's like advertised as kind of a more serious show, but it's really funny. Actually, it's not really funny, but there's like elements of humor in there, and like it's like silly, but it's also really intriguing and really good. I recommend it.
It officially was approved for a second season.
Oh, good. Oh, that makes me happy.
So we'll be getting another one.
Cool. Yeah, it was a good show.
Very good. I don't want to spoil it, but it's definitely worth a watch. And then one more thing that I watched on Hulu, because I like wrote next to it like where I watched it, so I'd be able to tell people.
Yep.
Booksmart, which is a movie on Hulu. I don't know if it was like a Hulu original or if it just like got released to it. It has the girl from Unbelievable on Netflix on it.
Yeah, I've seen commercials for it.
Yeah, I think was it Caitlin Dever? Is that her name?
I don't know.
Or something like that. I fucking love her. She's amazing. I think she's going to continue to do great things, like actor-wise. And then I don't know who the other like main girl is. It was really cute, heartwarming, like coming of age.
I'm pretty sure Olivia Wilde directed that.
She did.
Yeah.
It was like it was really cute. I quite enjoyed it. It's pretty lighthearted. It's, you know, about a couple of 18-year-olds that are about to graduate high school type of thing. So if that's not your judge, don't watch it. But
yeah,
if you want a giggle and something heartwarming, give it a go.
Send it.
It's pretty short, and it made my heart happy.
I wrote it down, and I'll include it in the show notes.
Beautiful.
And now I have to go eat a snack, and I have to sneeze. I've had to sneeze this whole episode. It's just sitting there, you guys.
Oh no. Well, okay, let's sign off so that you can sneeze and get that you know, like 1/18 of an orgasm or whatever it is.
Is that really real?
Yeah, a sneeze. 1/18 is probably a fake figure, but like a sneeze is like legitimately the same satisfaction as like 1% of an orgasm.
Huh.
I'll find out what that figure is, and I'll
please do.
I'll include it at some point.
Okay.
But anywhoose,
thanks for listening.
Enjoy your face orgasm, and you have something else?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, bye.
Bye.